It's been hard, to say the least. It's a lot of ups and downs. Um, when I first got my diagnosis, I was immediately admitted to the hospital, to the psych ward, because they were afraid that I was gonna, collapse at any time. And at that point, I think my mom was already forcing me to eat like more than I was at first, but it still wasn't a lot. But when I went in to the psych ward for my eating disorder, how much I ate and what I ate, but I didn't have control of it anymore. There's this thing called protocol. Basically, you have to finish all the food on your plate, like scrape it clean, and you have a set amount of time to do it. So yeah, and you're supervised all the time. They make sure you can't go to the washroom for an hour after meals, so that you can't purge. And yeah, people still try to cheat, and it's really triggering. But I think as much as I hate being on protocol, it did help at least to gain back all the weight. Um, I think for a very long time I didn't like the fact that they focus so much on weight and less on how I was mentally and emotionally. I was seeing a psychologist, but the weight was always the most important thing. I realize now that they had to do that because if you're not at a healthy weight and you're not eating enough and you're depriving yourself of the nutrients you need, your brain doesn't exactly function the same way, and people tend to not be able to think logically. Um, for me, I managed to become weight restored, I think within a month or a little bit over that. It was hard to accept my new body within such a short period of time. My diagnosis changed from anorexia to bulimia, and that was another really hard thing for me to accept because I think a lot of us, as in for the sufferers, we believe that the if you have an eating disorder and you want to be good at it, anorexia is the thing you aim for, and everyone's looking like out to be the thinnest or like the best anorexic, and it's twisted, but that was the goal. And yeah, having your diagnosis changed just sucked, and you don't really know how to explain this to people, especially friends who don't have it. I was surrounding myself with friends I met in the ward, people who had this like eating disorders or depression and whatnot. They were really close to me, and as much as I appreciated the support, I think it wasn't very healthy because we would always be talking about it. And yeah, we try to be positive, but it still affects you. Yeah. Um, I I've done a lot of things I'm not proud of, like comparing myself to my friends when they are um, struggling and not exactly wanting them to lose more weight than I did because I'm very competitive as a person, and eating disorders just make it worse. Yeah, but I think after a few years of being stuck in that stage where you're neither moving forward nor moving back, I only really got better after I got my corgi, and having to focus on taking care of him just helped me realize that there are other things that are more important. I am still suffering now because I relapsed like a few months back because certain things happened, but um, I'm trying to get back on my feet, and I don't intend to stagnate again because you just have to keep going, just keep moving forward. if you're talking about symptoms wise, obviously it was having to relinquish control. Me and my friends used to joke that all the patients in the ward were there for eating disorders. We're all control freaks. Not so much with regard to people around us, but we like to control everything that we do, in a sense that we don't like things to be planned for us, and that we want to know what's coming next. And if we don't know, then it makes us uncomfortable. So yeah, that was something that was hard for me to accept, but I realized that I had to, not that I had a choice anyway. Other things that I had to change, I think this was a very gradual process, but I had to change how I view my body and even other people's bodies, be it my friends, in the media, just everyone. Because if I didn't try to change that, I would always be stuck in that mindset that skinny is beautiful, or that, you know, I would end up always looking at people and seeing them for their bodies, seeing myself for my body and not for who they are. Other things I've had to change, definitely putting aside more time for therapy and self-reflection. I think I had the misconception that going into therapy was supposed to make you feel better, but that was not the case, which I found out. And my therapist also pointed out to me that it's for you to understand yourself and understand what your illness or your disorder is doing to you. And sometimes the truth hurts, but it will set you free. So learning how to face that truth and that pain. Yeah, it was hard because I had so many unhealthy coping mechanisms that I had to force myself to give up. But of course, it took a long time for me to finally stop. But I think it was worth it, even though it was hard. Because you come out stronger and more stable and more independent and confident as well. My family for supporting me all this while. Financially, it's not easy to put anyone through treatment for eating disorders, because for most it's a long-term commitment, a long-term process. Seeing therapists and nutritionists and sometimes getting hospitalized multiple times, it's all very expensive. So I am very appreciative that my family was willing to put aside so much money to spend on me and my recovery. I sometimes forget as well that actually my family does. I forget that my family does support me mentally and emotionally as well, because I think it's a typical Asian family thing where they don't show love so affectionately or physically. It's more of the things they do for you. I think it's because I grew up being exposed to the Western culture, Western media, and how a happy family is portrayed, how, you know, there's always hugs and kisses and, like, you know, verbal affirmation, things like that. Very often I wish for things like that, but I've come to a point where I'm able to remind myself that my family is just different, and in the culture that we live in, it's not say not possible, but I think I need to stop wishing that my family is different. Um, Other people who have helped, my friends definitely, who have been there for me, because sometimes it's hard. You start getting anxious or whatever. Sometimes I can just call some of them and they would talk to me, calm me down. I'm infinitely grateful that my psychiatrist stuck it through with me all this time. It's been like a few years, and she still remembers more details about my recovery than I do. Yeah, I think one of my teachers, who I've lost contact with, but she was there supporting me before I actually reached out to my parents to put me into treatment. Even though she's not say with me anymore, I still do think she played a very important role in keeping me alive at the very least during that period where I was just really, really sick. Yeah. Oh, and also definitely thank my dog.